Hey hungry people, I'm Holden Sherman.
And I'm Ray Gomez.
And I'm feeling charcuterie today. You wanna know why? Because I have the owner of She Fancy Charcuterie boards, Anna Sofer, here with us today.
Hey.
Anna, how are you doing?
I'm doing so good. Yeah.
Good to hear.
Well, so the first question that we want to ask you, and again, thank you so much for coming on, is how did you get into the charcuterie business?
Yeah, so really condensed version of this story is that I had a couple of restaurants during the pandemic. And man, the pandemic was hard, as we all know, and this was the beautiful pivot that came from COVID. So people were asking me to do these charcuterie boards for the holidays, and then it became like a daily order thing, and then, hey, can you do this wedding? Hey, can you do this baby shower? And I was like, you know what, I can be doing this every day, not have the overhead of a restaurant, not be somewhere every day, and kind of just go out by myself. So anyway, She Fancy was born from the ashes of my old restaurant. So
when people dig into your charcuterie boards, what are the most distinct parts of your boards?
Man, so I really like to try to keep things as seasonal and local as possible. So when I'm shopping, I'm thinking like, okay, like for this one, it's fall, so we've got some really beautiful like apple cheddar flavors going on here. There's a cranberry brie, nice black pepper salami, kind of those like warm flavors, and keep it seasonal. Yeah.
When it comes to composition, you know, you've got the roses right here, you've got the cheese right here, you got some kumquats, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Those are kumquats.
Yep.
I did my research. You got some green olives and some raspberries. What goes into the organization of each board? Yeah,
so I really like to think of like any of the styling of the food as kind of like an art, you know? So when I'm putting a board together, I'm thinking like, what colors are gonna look best together? What's the contrast gonna be? Cheese kind of tends to stay the same colors unless you have these like beautiful crusted ones. So I'm laying the cheese down and then I'm going back in with all these different colors and kind of like trying to bring, I don't know, just try to make it as colorful and fun and vibrant as possible.
Yeah, so obviously with this like business, I'm curious to hear how you wish to expand it, because I know we were talking about other things that you do outside of charcuterie, but I'm curious like how do you wish to expand this and see She Fancy in the future?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because I've done so many different iterations of like my business and I think I've hit this really comfortable place in which like expansion for me looks like, I don't know, I really like working for myself. I do have a business partner, Chris, shout out to Chris, and he is incredible. We do a lot of like private chef stuff or pop-ups or corporate events, and really it's just kind of expanding that, kind of you know, taking on more clients and whatnot, but I honestly don't think expansion for me looks much like a brick and mortar anymore. I'm kind of in an anti-brick and mortar phase of my career, wherein like I really like doing like having my commercial kitchen going, being by myself, creating all these things and then bringing them to people. So yeah.
We were talking about this before when we were just breaking the bread. Pun intended with the charcuterie boards. We were breaking the bread, but a lot of that flexibility comes for a lot of restaurant owners came from like the times during COVID and what those opportunities kind of opened up. How did that kind of craft itself for you?
Yeah, I mean, gone are the days where I want to be somewhere for 80 plus hours per week. I'm not interested anymore in like getting up at 4 in the morning and not leaving until like 8 o'clock at night. So, and I have kids too. So for me, it's like, hey, like I get to, you know, make a couple of boards. I get to like work on Saturdays mostly, but I'm picking my kids up every day from school. And like as a chef, I never really envisioned that was a possibility, to be honest. So yeah, it's comfortable, it's cool, and I'm vibing. I love it.
So obviously you said like as a chef, I'm curious to hear what made you want to become a chef?
So, you know, I grew up in the restaurant industry. Both of my parents are trained professional chefs. And that really, for a long period of time, discouraged me from being a chef. My parents were very much like, don't do this, this sucks, like you're here every day at the restaurant. Like I had this like cute little loft on the top of my mom's restaurant, and I lived there and I saw that life. And anyway, I went to college. I went to college for music, and then I went to law school. And I thought, man, this sucks too. This sucks too. And I was doing, and you know, during school I had a couple of jobs. I worked for Whole Foods and I worked at their cheese counter and I worked in a restaurant for 7 years, and it's just always been a part of my life. And then when COVID happened and I had saved up a little bit of money and lost my other job, and I thought, why not just do this? You know, why not just do this? So we moved up from Austin, Texas. That's where we were when COVID first happened. And we moved back up here, and we were like, man, we can kind of, like, prices were low and rent. We were like, we can open up a restaurant, really do this thing all the way. And so, yeah, I don't know. It was kind of a long way to come back home. Yeah.
You're not making gruel for people. You're making something fun, something creative, which also means you get to have fun.
Yes.
What the creativity part of, you know, your job as a food curator for a lot of people.
Yeah.
How do you treat that?
I love to eat, so I'm when my partner and I are like, what are we doing tonight? Like, it's usually a food-based thing, trying a new restaurant, or we love to like go get really nice groceries and then cook really nice food for ourselves. When we go to the bookstore, we get cookbooks. We like to cook through cookbooks, so we're always kind of like learning and growing in the craft, and I think that we kind of bring that to She Fancy. In addition to like the charcuterie and stuff like that, we also do like, you know, small bites and apps and just stuff that really like lends itself to creativity. Yeah, we've done these really fun like little dinner parties in which we get a bunch of other local chefs, pop-up chefs. We call them Fancy Fet series, where we all get together and we do like, depending on how many chefs we get, and I'm rambling now, but we get like, you know, let's say 5 local chefs together, and everyone is responsible for 2 courses, and it's kind of a fun way for all of us to get together and you know, make something fun and beautiful. And we usually sell like 25 to 50 tickets, and yeah, I don't know. I don't remember the original question, but we're always learning, we're always growing, we're always eating.
When it comes to you know, not being a brick and mortar, does that give you more opportunities to experiment?
Yes, yeah. I mean, when you're not having like the overhead of like, I need to worry about X amount of rent, I need to worry about staff, I need to worry about all of these things that go into a brick and mortar, it definitely allows more room to experiment, to try things. I'm not beholden to committing to a menu for a period of time. You know, I'm not. Yeah, I get to try things, and that's fun. And my clients also will come to me with their ideas, which is super fun. Like, a lot of the time, like when I'm meeting a new client for a wedding or an event, I always tell them to put together a Pinterest board, and we kind of like, so they'll put together a Pinterest board, I'll put together a Pinterest board of kind of like my ideas, and we kind of build something really fun and beautiful together. And I just think, yeah, like the collaborative creative experience is something fun that isn't as easy when you have a brick and mortar, where people more want regular stuff, you know, like if you have a really popular sandwich and people love it, and then you're like, man, I don't want to make this sandwich anymore, people get really mad. People are like, hey, I come here every week for this sandwich, and like, where is my sandwich? So I don't know, with this it's ever different. And that's fun.
I'm so curious. So I know that you were talking about learning how to do this, and just like the collaborative nature. How would you suggest a college student who has no experience, like for example me, in trying to guide them to make a good charcuterie board?
Yeah. So little self plug. I do classes all the time. So
I'm gonna go write that down.
So
I'll be right back, camera.
I do classes all the time. But if you can't make it out to one of my classes, the internet exists, you know what I mean? Like TikTok, like there's all these like little like 30-second videos, like how to make a salami roast, so if you're like really interested in how to make it, I go to the internet first, and then, you know, secondly, like go to your local cheese shop. Shout out to Curd Nerd, she's fantastic. If you guys go into there and you're like, hey, I want to make a charcuterie board, they will be like, you want this cheese, and this cheese. And that's really where you're starting at, like curating the cheese, right? And then, yeah, I think that's a beautiful couple of places to start. Yeah.
That sounds like a very Gouda idea. I'm sorry.
How many puns do you think you can? How many cheese puns do you think you can fit in to this segment?
Don't try. I'm sure you could probably get 10.
You obviously say that you do a lot of stuff for weddings and catering events. What emotions like outside of just like happiness, right? What emotions are you trying to evoke in people when they enjoy your boards, especially if it's going to be like high leverage moments like a wedding?
Yeah, so like the wow moment of a wedding. So usually for weddings, the charcuterie, the grazing tables, are these like very elaborate, like 6, 8, 12-foot tables of this. So, and they take place during the cocktail hour. So you have the ceremony of the wedding, everybody comes to enjoy this cocktail hour, and you're walking in usually to this like giant table. So we're definitely, all of my brides are looking for that wow moment, you know? Of like, there's this just gorgeous, like, in a way, like, I don't know, I think about like Game of Thrones or something, like any of the tablescapes that they do in those, in the shots where they're eating, it's like this like giant table of just like a feast. And so I think a lot of the time we're trying to just like invoke that like wow moment when the guests walk in. So I think that you can throw a really bomb charcuterie board together at Aldi for under $20. And I've done this as like a challenge before, and yeah, you can definitely pick up all you need for the best charcuterie board. You want 2 to 3 different types of cheese, 1 to 2 types of meat, and then a fruit and like a nut or something, just to kind of break it up and have like the textures and stuff. Olives are cheap, jams are cheap and a nice like addition. But yeah, I mean, you really don't have to break the bank to make a beautiful charcuterie board. Like I said, Aldi, Trader Joe's, you can really build one for about $20.
All right, so hungry people, now we get the lovely privilege to finally try the charcuterie board. I know my mouth has been watering this whole time while we've been having this conversation. So before Holden and I dig in, I want to know what's on the board, what you think we should go for first. Like,
yeah.
Just what went into the board, I guess.
Help me not go wrong while I use this tongue.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I'm really obsessed with this like apple cheddar situation that's happening here. It's a Wegmans seasonal cheese, so they have that right now. Actually, most of this stuff came from Wegmans, so if you like anything, go to Wegmans. But yeah, I would definitely take a piece of this like apple cheddar first. There's also, this is their like cranberry crusted goat cheese, like little chev. That is excellent. And there's some crackers back here. And then that's a petite basque. So
interesting. What is that, out of curiosity?
Yeah, that's just a cheese that's like a semi-soft but kind of hard cheese. Yeah, it's got a mild flavor, kind of nutty. Just kind of wanted to keep like the flavor profile of this board like warm and kind of fall themed.
That's what I was going to say. The cheese feels very fall-y.
Yeah.
But with my tongue, can you guide me in the right direction of how I can get the perfect bite out of this board? So I'm going to assume that I'm going to take a cheese first.
Yeah.
Sorry,
which cheese should I go for?
Yeah, I would definitely just go and like straight up taste the apple cheddar first, because I think
I just did that.
Okay, you had that one. Okay, so there's, let's see, we've got a spoon here, we've got crackers back here. I think a super yummy bite is, and this crinkling is going to be a horrible sound on camera.
No, it's
so
ASMR.
sorry.
It's ASMR.
Yeah, should we? All right, I'm not gonna touch these for you, but there's crackers.
I'm gonna touch them for me.
There's goat cheese. That's a good bite. And if you want, this is a 36-month aged prosciutto.
I do want to.
Yeah. That is excellent. You can put that on the cracker with the goat cheese. There's like 2 pieces there, so. Yep.
Oh, it's okay.
I guess you're just, hey, big piece.
There's a big.
I wouldn't complain if I were you. I'm jealous that you're digging in. Interesting. So can I ask about some of the fruit that's on the board?
Yeah, nothing crazy with the fruit. Unfortunately, like fig season is over, and figs are my absolute favorite thing to throw on a board. They're so beautiful. But I went to like 2 different Wegmans before I came here, and I was like, there's no figs. So anyway, there's kumquats. Those are fun and seasonal. Blackberries aren't super in season right now, but they're in season somewhere. Same with raspberries. So, but I really like berries on a board. I think they just kind of brighten it up and break up the otherwise monotonous tone.
Can I ask why figs are your favorite?
Figs are delicious. Figs are just beautiful. Like I like to style them by like cutting into them in half and kind of laying them on each other. But they're beautiful, and the fig flavor really lends itself well to like prosciutto and cheddars and brie. So.
Anna, thank you so much for your time. Is there anything else you want to add?
Oh man, just follow me on socials, She Fancy Catering. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, trying to be better about TikTok. And yeah, I don't know. I've got a lot of interesting like catering stuff coming up. My Thanksgiving menu just dropped. Holiday otherwise menu will be coming out soon. So yeah, order.
Yeah. And again, thank you so much for coming on. And speaking of social medias, please follow us at College Eats SU on TikTok.
And SU College Eats on Instagram. I'm Holden Sherman.
I'm Ray Gomez, and stay hungry, people.
Hey, no one watch, I'm going to steal this.
Oh, and there goes the charcuterie.